bring in little. Ye eat, but you not have enough. You have not enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. You clothe, but you're not warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Thus said the Lord of hosts, consider your ways, go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house, and I will take pleasure in it, and I will be satisfied, said the Lord. You look for much, and lo, it came to little, and when ye brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why? Said the Lord of hosts, because of mine house that is waste, and ye run every man unto his own. Therefore, the heavens over you are stayed from dew, and the earth is stayed from your fruit. And I call for a drought, upon the land, and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, the oil, and upon the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hands. Then Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, and Joshua the son of Jadak, the high priest, with all the remnants of the people, obeyed the voice of the Lord their God, and the word of Haggai the prophet, as the Lord their God had sent him, and the people did fear the Lord. Then spake Haggai the Lord's message, and the Lord's message unto the people, saying, I am with you, said the Lord. And the Lord stirred up the spirit, just give me a few minutes, of Zerubbabel and of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, in the spirit of Joshua the son of Jadak, and the high priest, and the spirit of raiment of the people. And they came and did the work in the house of the Lord of hosts their God in the 24th day of the 6th month, in the 2nd year of Darius the king. Chapter 2 and verse 1. In the 7th month, in the 21st day of the month, came the word of the Lord by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now, Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and Joshua, the son of Jadak, the high priest, and the residue of the people, saying, Who is left? Now this verse is very key in verse 3. Who is left among you that saw the house in her glory, in her first glory? How do you see it now? Is it not in your eyes in comparison of it as nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, said the Lord, and the strong, O Joshua, son of Jadak, the high priest, and be strong, all ye people of the land, said the Lord, and work. For I am with you, said the Lord of hosts, according to the word that I covenanted with you when ye came out of Egypt. So my spirit remaineth among you. Fear not, for thus said the Lord of hosts, yet once again it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, said the Lord of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, said the Lord of hosts. The glory of the latter house shall be greater than the former, said the Lord of hosts, and in this place will I give peace, said the Lord of hosts. I want to go back to verse number 3 of the 2nd chapter. Says, Who is left among you that saw a house in its first glory? And I want to talk particularly to a particular group tonight as I speak. And he talks about who is left that saw the house in its first glory. I want to talk with you about who's left. Who's left? You may be seated. Everybody that was a part of the Hobbs Road experience, stand on your feet. Everybody that was a part of the Hobbs Road. If you were in, all right, in 766 Hobbs Road, my God, you may be seated. So the message is, who is left? Who is left that remember the first glory? Oh, what a great time that we had and enjoyed in the temple, in the old church, the old temple. what has happened so that you can get an understanding, and it's not to downplay because I think God is doing just as much here as he did there. Haggai chapter 2 are people who have allowed, in Haggai chapter 1 and 2, who allowed the temple of the tabernacle to die. They let it die down. They let it get dilapidated, and it is decayed, and nobody took interest in that old building. Nobody cared about it. It had died. They had got up and gotten so busy into their own work, into their own business, that the house of God became irrelevant, and it had been kind of decayed. It is just over time. You know, I look at my grandfather's house, and I looked at the barber shop that we worked on and built. My mother once lived there. My grandmother and all of my relatives lived there. And somehow someone allowed that property to be neglected. And when it was neglected, it just decayed away, and it's not valued that much now. I got to go back and repair it, because sometimes when we're not using it and we're not there, we just forget the experience. It's amazing how something, and you got to be very careful when something is handed down to you. It's amazing how our neglect and just not doing nothing to it will make it decay and fall apart and become nothing. I look at houses in the neighborhood that people once owned and how they're just decaying and going away because the young people take no interest, and even the older people take no interest in the property that was once owned by their loved ones. It's important when something is given to you and handed down that you value that. How could you let the facility that you were raised in, and you got 5 or 6 different children that are around, and they let that property just, all it takes is going and cutting the lights on sometime, vacuuming to keep it good. But sometimes we don't value it because we got our new modern houses and we live in those houses. We just let stuff go neglect. I pray, and I pray to God that my children and my grandchildren will value the things that I've done and won't just get something. Mama's house, grandmama's house, daddy's house, all these houses, and keep those possessions and keep them up. That's very important because that's a part of who you are. You got 100 years, at least, my grandfather's house that we're working on now. There's 100 years of history there. My mother was born there. She was born there. My grandfather's barber shop that we just renewed and don't sell everything. Don't sell everything because there's experiences in there. Don't sell other people. Sell it outside of your property. That's an inheritance that you pass down from generation to generation. So I look at, and this message has a meaning. I look at the barber shop. I spent many days as a little boy getting my hair cut. My grandfather there, well, I didn't spend many days there. I got a haircut there one time. I spent many days there talking with him because I got one haircut. I only got one haircut from my grandfather. I didn't get any more. I got one haircut from my granddaddy in my lifetime. I spent a lot of time, but I went over there and asked him to cut my hair, and he cut my hair, and I cried, and I didn't like it, and I went to my grandma, and I cried. My grandmama cussed my granddad. I told him, don't you cut that boy hair no more. And that was it. And I couldn't get my granddad to cut my hair when I was grown. Whatever cussing my grandma put in, it was so deep that when I think she cussed him out for all. I think she looked over there and see his wife and him living over there across the street. I think she just used my haircut to cuss him out for everything else. But whatever it is, I couldn't get my granddaddy when I was grown and see the past and be able to show my kids this and their future because it decayed, it was totally ruined. And the Lord said, my house is destroyed. My house is up. And when the Lord looked at it, he said, wait a minute, this house looks so different than what the house used to look like. He said, wait a minute, is there anybody here that remember what the house used to look like? Because even though y'all repaired it, man, y'all just using this as a natural illustration, but we have to be careful with the church in general. That as we build, that we have people that remember the original. Because you get people that are saved today that don't remember the original. They don't know what holiness looked like. They don't know what a good gospel message look like. And the church we have today, many people are doing the best that they can with the church that they got. But they don't look like it used to look. And you become relevant, you Hobbs Rovers. You become relevant. You all that were with me from the day that I started, you become relevant because you can remind people this is what holiness look like. This is what our pastor taught us. Remember what you were taught, and remember what was put in your heart. And there's only newcomers here. There are things that they will not remember. But is there anybody in here that remember what it was? And y'all put it together. But y'all find me somebody that got a blueprint. See, this was before pictures. This was before cameras. This was before you could have something to remember. I'd have to ask I'm trying to build back Jimmy Henry grocery store in Winter Haven. And if I would ask some of the young people what it looked like, they wouldn't. But I can sit down with Sister Johnson and Sister Sherry, who was raised in that area, and April, and all of us in our generation, they could draw it. The problem is we got a lot of people who really trying to have church, but they don't know what it looked like. They're really trying to have an experience, but they don't know what it looked like. And I respect the younger generation. I respect you all. And I love own self and how you feel to recreate the experience. You can't do it because you wasn't there. You don't know what it was. You don't know what it looks like. So you need that old guidance to tell you how a godly woman ought to look and how the saints used to look and used to be and how they... I respect what you ever tried to do. And I respect what church folk are trying to do now. And I respect and I love our generation. I love some of the shouts don't look like church shouts. Some of the things that are going on don't look like church. So every now and then you got to have somebody to raise their hand and say, hey, I remember what it looks like. We're going off track. We're going off track. That wasn't on the building. That wasn't on the building. Move that. So somebody got to remember, even as I'm going forth and doing experience, I wasn't there. I'm only 52. And I can't take a 52-year-old and tell you what Pentecost looked like 2,000 years ago. So I've got this Bible. I got this